Wallace finds top shelf back corner. Carlow is going to take the 4-1.
And welcome to the season preview for the Celtics men's basketball season here on the Carlow Sports Network. I'm Sean Meyers, joined by the seventh-year head coach for the men's team, Tim Keefer, the only coach this program has ever known. Thank you for doing this today, Coach.
I'm the best and the worst in the history of Carlow.
You got both bases covered there. This has been certainly a very interesting offseason, no doubt. I'm sure it's a first for your career. How have you handled the biggest challenges during this pandemic?
Wearing a mask, getting the kids to wear a mask, to follow CDC protocol. We have questions we have to fill out, getting them, doing the same things every day, taking temperatures, social distancing, especially after practice, before things, what they're doing on campus. So hopefully we're doing a good job of that.
And you mentioned some of the protocol and following that. How has that maybe changed what you had to do throughout this offseason?
Making sure we clean up everything, making sure maybe it's better than when we came in. I have a spray bottle. I had to go to Home Depot and get some stuff and made sure I always have an extra spray bottle. Hand sanitizer, things like that. Simple thing like the kids send a text, don't forget your mask.
It hasn't drastically affected the ability to hold practices and get into the groove that you're hoping to get into heading into a season now?
No. Carlow, our facilities have done a great job. Coach Julie's done a good job, and Karina, our SID, and George, our athletic director, having everything ready for us, so we appreciate that.
I would say it's fair to say that the landscape of society as a whole has changed drastically from the time that we talked a year ago. How has that put basketball in perspective, not only for you, but for your team?
I have an advantage. I taught in the Pittsburgh Public Schools 35 years in the inner city, so I had a lot of diverse groups I got to work with. So luckily I see a point of view of everyone's point of view, and we're able to discuss it in a calm manner, and we let the kids express themselves.
There were some bright spots, I would say, individually a year ago, but when you look at the win-loss, it was still a team that struggled. So what were the biggest takeaways from the 19-20 season?
Our young kids came in, did a good job. Trey Harvey, Eugene Goodwine, two freshmen came in and contributed. Marcus Millian did a good job for us. Basically, again, throughout our 7 years here, we lack size, so we get pounded on the boards and that. And defensively, we need to get some rim protectors, and that's what we did with our recruiting this year.
I didn't mean it as in the year 1920. I meant 2019, 2020. I know you've been around for a while, but not quite that long.
That's okay.
You've kept a positive attitude through this. How have you made sure that is carried over to your players, even during these struggles?
Well, I tell them basketball, for me, it's part of my life experiences and that, and it's just part of theirs. I mean, they're here to come to school to get a degree, that hopefully get a good job. So basketball is just part of that. So they're learning things like, hey, there's adversity in life. Like, who would have thought there's a pandemic? We talk about, wins and losses. Hey, we try to win every game, but sometimes the score might not say, but just like here with this pandemic, hey, there's wins you can have.
And Coach, you talked about the academics, the job placement. I know that's something you really stress. When you give a recruiting pitch, how much does that come into play?
Well, that's the main thing. What we try to do is try to find out what type of job a recruit would want, and hopefully we have, with our curriculum, we can help them get to their goals and to the job they want to do. So that's the main thing. It's tough when you're playing basketball and you're going to class. You have to have a reason to go to class, and you're going to get a good job. That's what Carlow does for them.
There's no doubt that there's an opportunity to make some strides on the court. So what have been the biggest areas of focus since last season?
Again, it's rebounding and defense. We have to keep the games in the 80s if we can. We were giving up over 100 points a game, and you can't do that and win games.
You have a much bigger team in a couple of ways. The roster size has expanded. That's a good thing. The height of a lot of your players that you brought in, significant as well. So how will those aspects benefit this program?
Again, we have some guys like, for instance, Ed Cahoe and Malcolm Randall. They were basically our centers a lot, so they were only 6'3". So now we'll have some 6'8", 6'9" guys that can play in that position. Those guys can move out the wings, their natural position. So that will help them and help our team.
You mentioned a couple names there. Who are the key returners from last year's team?
Okay, we have Marcus Millian, okay, our leading scorer, Trey Harvey, Eugene Goodwine, Ed Cahoe, Suede Redmond, who's been around for 4 years, and Malcolm Randall. So all 5 stars are back, and Jenkins Kimber, who played a lot last year.
But you bring in a lot as well. Number of newcomers, whether they be freshmen or players who transferred in. What have you seen from them? Who has impressed thus far?
Well, we have Tyler Roscoe, who's from Youngstown. He's impressive. He's a good shooter. We have some heights with Max Barrett and Dave Cleary from Allegheny College of Maryland, so giving us a little bit of size. So that's helping. Ben Lawrence has been a surprise for us from Ringgold High School, a 6'7" forward. So the guys are working hard, and it's nice doing drills with big men, actually doing big man drills.
When you try to put this schedule together, what were some of the objectives, and how much is still uncertain with this scheduling?
Well, we like to travel. Our team likes to travel. Last year we got to go down to Miami, so that was a lot of fun and a good experience. We like to go to places where maybe we could see different things. In Louisville, we saw the Muhammad Ali Museum. Up in Ohio, we see the NFL Hall of Fame. So different things. We like to go out and let the kids experience things that maybe they never got to do before.
And that leads me into another question. A lot of teams like to have activities to sort of build chemistry. So I know this year might be a little different. You can't quite get together as easily, but what are some of the things that you like to do in that regard?
Well, with our guidelines, we had to start out in pods of 10. So the kids weren't together a lot as a whole group, so we had a lot of different pod challenges. So whatever the challenge would be, well, this pod, then we'd put the score up, so when the other pod would come in, they had to beat this score. So it was kind of competition that way. And then I would video each pod and show them and put it on there, so this pod's outworking this pod. So things like that, so it's kind of fun that way. So this week actually is the first week we've all been together as a team.
Your home is the River States Conference. What do you see in terms of the outlook of the conference?
The usual tough teams in our conference, IU East, West Virginia Tech, Point Park had a good recruiting year. Then on the other side, you have Kokomo, you have Southeast, Asbury. So it's a tough conference, very tough.
I know you try to bring in players locally as well as from outside of the region, but especially for the local ones, how much do they look forward to playing Point Park?
Well, it was one year we beat them twice in a row. They've beaten us last time, so to be a rivalry, you have to give them some competition. So a lot of guys, I don't really, Point Park, I know it's in Pittsburgh, but the out-of-state guys, I don't know too much.
When you look at the coaching staff, a couple of familiar names return. Dave Gordon's been your right-hand man for many years, Keith Potomi, but you also had a former player in Jake St. George. What do you expect from those assistant coaches?
Well, again, it's been really nice, especially since we've been in the pods. Jake is our player development. Keith is our strength and conditioning coach. Dave does the offense, I do the defense, so it's nice that we were able to delegate authority. And it's pretty good. Those guys have been with me. Either I was their high school coach or a college coach, like in Jake's instance. So we pretty much know each other. We know what we like and dislike. So the practices go very well organized.
And as we mentioned, it's your 7th year. You've seen ups, you've seen downs. For this upcoming season, it will be a success if
we rebound, keep the games in the 80s.
Coach,
we got to play defense.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Always enjoy talking.
Sean, I'd like to thank you, man. You guys do a great job. This is nice. And thanks, Karina, again. Our SID does a great job. I appreciate it.
We love to spread the word of Carlow men's basketball.
Thank you.
That is Tim Keefer, the head coach of the Celtics here on the season preview.
Another thing, we got a air fist pump.
There we go. We continue the season preview, now joined by a sophomore, Malcolm Randall. Thank you for taking the time to do this today.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Malcolm, this has been really a difficult offseason for everyone for reasons outside of your control. What have been some of the toughest aspects to that?
Staying together. We're all separated. We all got to follow the regulations now. We have to constantly keep bringing our baskets, even though some of us can tend to forget at times. But overall, it's just really just trying to be together as a team when some of us are out doing other things as well.
What were some of the biggest lessons that you learned from your freshman year at Carlow?
It was rough. The biggest thing I would say is just staying in shape. The season plus school is a grind, we know you got homework here, but you got a game this night. You got a test. You got this test this day. You got a game that night. It's just all about really just trying to, be consistent. Always making sure you're getting homework time, then make it straight to practice. So the biggest thing I would say is just, the adversity of it.
Speaking of the adversity, a year ago, your team won just one game. How did you try to keep the right mindset?
Stay positive. One year like that, it does wear you down. It does be up on you a little bit, but at the same time, you realize you'll have next season. You'll have all those games again. You'll play those teams, and this year I hope for the best because I'm very confident coming in this year.
With that confidence, I'm sure you feel pretty good about your game. What are some of your best attributes on the floor?
Rebounding, leadership, and defense. That's the best aspect I can see for myself. Offensively, I believe the shots will come, but this year I think defense will be more emphasis for me.
And you highlighted some of your best attributes. What do you envision for your role this season? Might it be different than a year ago?
Leadership, being on time, being ready for the games, just being an example for my teammates, making sure we're all on the same page on the floor, just things like that.
When you look at the team, who do you think, outside of yourself, might have a breakout year?
Senior-wise, Swade, Redmond, and Jenkins. But also, I want to say Marcus Millian. He's one of the best I've seen play right now. So I'm expecting a lot from him. And also, at KO, he's improved a lot.
What individual and team expectations have you set for the upcoming year?
Just win. That's it. Just win more games than we did last year.
Simple enough. Some questions maybe as far as the non-conference schedule, but what games are you most looking forward to?
The Point Park, because that's our rival. I'm looking forward to play them. And possibly Ohio Christian. That game, we were very close in that game. I feel like we deserve to win that game, but I'm looking forward to it this year.
I just had the opportunity to talk to your head coach, Tim Keefer. What are some of his best qualities?
His qualities. He's like a father to me, basically. He teaches me very good life lessons. He's grounded. He knows the game of basketball a lot. So that's the best thing I can say about him.
You are a Pittsburgh guy from Bellevue, went to Northgate High School, so you stayed in the city. How important was the local aspect of Carlow to you?
Very important. I wanted to stay close to my family. I wanted to stay close to home, and seeing the opportunity, seeing my family every once in a while, it's the best thing I can say.
And I know that local aspect important, as you said, but what outside of that is maybe some of your favorite parts of Carlow University?
Favorite parts, meeting the people, being the teachers. The teachers are wonderful. They're all nice. They help you understand the classwork. They help you when you need more time to do this work, things like that. That's the best thing I can say. Just meeting new people every day.
Well, Malcolm, thank you for taking the time to do this. Good luck this season.
Thank you very much.
That is Malcolm Randall, the sophomore forward for the Celtics here on the season preview. We continue here on the season preview, joined now by a sophomore for the Celtics, Hunter DeStefano. Thank you for doing this today.
Good to be here.
Hunter, last year was a challenging one for Carlow, no doubt. How has the team sort of renewed its optimism heading into this year, though?
I think the quarantine really gave us a chance to look over the season from last year and really focus on what we needed to improve on. We got a lot of new guys this year, so got a new folks coming in. I think defense is going to be a thing that we're trying to limit this year. Try to really focus on limit the points we're giving up.
You talk about maybe the team focus. Individually, what particular areas of your game did you try to hone?
I've been trying to focus a lot on ball handling this year. I know kind of like a big guard role here at Carlow, so I'm trying to focus on that. I lost a little bit of weight, so trying to improve like speed and stuff always, so always focus on the weight room too.
There was a losing streak that predated your time here, but when you came in, it was sort of a rough start for the Celtics. When you finally got that victory at Washington and Jefferson, what was that moment like?
That was a big win for us. I remember after the game, the environment was good. I know we had a little streak there at the end, almost beating Ohio Christian twice, and I think that win over WJ really helped us. So hopefully continue that role we had at the end of the season into next year.
You had an injury a year ago. How did you try to respond to that setback?
I had the same injury senior year of high school, so it was kind of the same treatment, but it always gives you time to reflect on your game and just things you're thankful for too, just being able to go out there and force. So it really makes you appreciate being healthy.
You talked about your time in high school. You were at Penn Trafford. So did you have familiarity with any of your teammates at Carlow before you were a member of the Celtics?
I knew Swade and AJ from Jeanette just because both live really close to each other. So I always played basketball with them wherever, in Jeanette or PT at the fields. So I knew both of them coming in. And then I think I played against Malcolm, Trey, and Gene sometimes in AAU, but I never really knew them too much. But definitely some familiarity in the area.
There's a lot of newcomers to the roster, whether they be freshmen or players who have transferred in. Who have impressed you so far?
I think everybody that's came in new has their own special talents, but I think Max and Dave, the two bigs coming in, are going to be impact for us. And then we got some other kids that can really shoot and play defense, so they're all going to be beneficial to us this year.
You were a Champions of Character Award winner last year. That's a nice distinction. What did that mean to you?
That meant a lot. I know that award's really solid here. I'm blessed to be able to receive it, and it means a lot to me.
Lastly, what goals did you set for yourself, and what team goals have you set for this season?
The goals for me is always just to do best for us to win. I think that's moving to a team goal is just the overarching goal would be to play better defense, just limit the points given up, then just continue the motivation we had from last year and just help get more wins this year.
Hunter, thank you for taking the time to do this. Good luck heading into the season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That is Hunter DeStefano, a sophomore for the Celtics, here on the season preview.